Hi, my name is Sophie, and I've been living in China for the last 8 years. And today I want to talk about my experience with plus size fashion in China. So, first off, in the United States, I wear a size 12 to 14 in pants, which maybe is considered plus size, maybe it's mid size, but in China, it's definitely considered plus size. And in addition to that, I'm also quite tall. I'm 5'11" or around 180 centimeters. So that can also add some challenge when buying clothes, particularly pants. So first off, when you buy clothes in China as a larger size person, it can be hard to find clothes in store that fit you. Some stores that have larger sizing are some Western big box brands like H&M or COS and Arket. H&M does not have the best reputation, and in China as an imported brand, it can be a little bit more expensive than when you buy it in the United States. So it's that cheap quality but with a more expensive price. So I tend to not go there. And places like COS and Arket can be a little bit pricey, right? Like quite expensive for some of their items, and they don't have as much selection, right? And in these stores, only some of their items are plus size friendly. Not all of their items are. And so it can be a little bit hit or miss. But sometimes it's nice to go to a store and try something on. That's the benefit of either of these retailers. Due to limited availability in store, I typically tend to buy my things online. Right? There are obviously some exceptions, but in general, I use online shopping platforms Taobao and Pinduoduo to purchase different clothing. These platforms are similar to Amazon in that you can find different storefronts. Like you can obviously search for just items and be fed lots of different items to choose from, but you can also choose different stores to follow and to choose products from, like browse products from. It's just an online storefront. And so on these platforms, you can find lots of stores that cater to plus size clothing and plus size clientele, which is quite nice. Recently in China, there's been much more plus size awareness. And there's this sort of phrase called wei pang, which means a little bit fat. Yes, yeah, it's sort of like chubby. It's just a way for people to not say fat, which it also includes the word fat. So it's like, okay, whatever. But that's been something that's nice because it just means there's more accessibility for people who need different sizing options, right? Actually, today I have 3 items from a clothing store on Taobao called Nango Wei Pang. So I want to try those on. I'll try those on towards the end of the video. It was just a coincidence that I wanted to talk about this too. Boing. We all know what it's like to go into a new store and not really know exactly what the numbers on the sizing charts mean. And that's especially true when you shop online. So my recommendation is to always check the measurements and know your measurements and be willing and ready to check your measurements every time you buy something because I always forget. And so most clothing items are given some kind of measurement. If you find the measurements to be weird, I would say find a different product. And so with online shopping, just like in-person shopping, you really do have to weed things out, right? Unfortunately, there is sort of a learning curve. However, it's okay and it can be done, right? And the more time you spend on something, the more intentional you are about your purchase, the more likely it is to be a good purchase. So it's not wasted time. And also, in addition, like China likes to use lots of XLs. This is like, there's not really like this 246 sizing. Like some stores have these different international sizings, like Uniqlo has, I guess, Japanese standard sizing. So they have things like 76A or like 68, these different numbers. I don't know what those numbers mean. They also have some different measurements. Stores like Zara they have Mexican sizing as well as I think European sizing in the labels. Isn't that confusing? Different stores have their own different sizing. And so online stores and lots of Chinese brands also have their own completely unique sizings. Like you really need the measurements. So that's also a real big plus about shopping online. And you have to not be afraid of the XL. In China, they just add an XL. So it's like small, medium, large, XL, 2XL, 3XL, up to like 10XL. I was wearing which like I can usually wear straight sizes on my top. I was wearing a 5XL for my work shirt, which doesn't really mean it's not like a 5XL in the US. It's just because it's their bigger size. Their size up, they will just add an XL. So don't really worry about it. That's just a fun quirk about China. So another more potentially more expensive but environmentally friendly option is to find a tailor. There are lots of tailors. Any shopping mall you go into, you can find a tailor, which I guess is good too if you buy something and you get a 4XL and you needed a 3XL, right? You can get something fitted, but you can also sometimes have clothing made at these different tailors. So I have a few nice tailors on my WeChat now that I've been budgeting to be able to afford, reasonably afford, right? And so I want to get some nice professional winter clothing made. I want a nice wool coat and matching wool skirt, and I think that will cost me about 200 USD in total, which actually seems a little bit reasonable when I say it in the USD. I'm not sure. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. In addition to these options, you can also find lots of really great resources in WeChat groups in China. I'm in a few different plus size clothing groups, which, you know, people just share so many great resources there. Tips and tricks, different online shops that they like, different products that they've enjoyed. Sometimes there's secondhand clothing for sale, which can be really nice. So there's just a lot of options. Now for the try on. So first I want to try on this purple dress. I got it in a 3XL. Okay, let's go try it on. Anyways, here's outfit number 3, the dress. It has this scandalous high slit. It does have pockets. I'm wearing my bra inside still, but I think, you know, with adjustment of these straps, it could be a bit better. Sort of a little bit funky. I feel like I feel a little bit exposed. Potentially, I might need to figure out something to wear underneath this or just return it. I don't know. It's okay. Just okay. Next up is this denim dress. Also in a size 3XL. It smells sort of weird. Fine. Here's outfit number 2, denim dress. It's a little bit tighter than the skirt, even though they're both the same 3XL size. Again, another reason to check the measurements. It's not stretchy denim, but it is thin enough to be able to be worn in a few different seasons. Oh, the pockets are sticking out. Anyways, this is how it looks. I don't know, I guess it's fine. You know, it looks pretty good. What do you think? What do you think? And then third up is this leather skirt. But I think I got the right size, which is nice. They had one size bigger than this, so it gives people options. It's not too tight. It's a little bit stretchy, so that's fun. Interesting. It is pleather, so hopefully my cats don't get to it, and hopefully it maintains itself well enough. Success. Are plus size and considering coming to China, you really don't need to worry so much about clothing. There are things you can find. There are many different options so that you can wear clothing that feels good and looks good. So that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions or suggestions in the comments below. Bye bye.